Man, y'all know what time it is. One and only OG Hollywood, man. Well, I bring you the Ferguson Chronicle, man, where we keep it 110 all the way across every day, all day, and today is no different.
For sure.
Got a real soldier in the building, man. A real soldier in the building, man. I don't need to introduce him. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, man. Go ahead and tell the people where you're from and what led you to prison.
Hey, well, my governmental attribute is Marquis Warren, but they know me as Clue G. And what led me to prison was aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon, basically.
And let me ask you this, man. Aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon. Me, myself, is very familiar with that aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon, man. Go ahead and tell the people what age you went to prison, how much time that you got.
Well, I had just turned 21. I just had my 21st birthday a couple months before. So I was 21 years old, just turned 21. And I did 2 years in the county. They gave me 22 years, 2 decades and some change.
And what was it like for you growing up in the city?
Well, growing up in the city, you got different eras. So my era basically was mostly gang banging, gang banging and hustling. That was the whole thing. The Brother Lynch era, the Bone Thugs and Harmony, the Tupac era. That was my era right there. That was basically how that went.
And go ahead and tell the people where you were raised and kind of describe to them what was your upbringing.
Okay, so I'm originally from West Dallas, Crosshampton. You know what I'm talking about? And we left there. I left there at an early age, and I went to North Dallas. And I went to school there, man. And for the most part, my two ladies, she was trying to get us out of that West Dallas atmosphere. So she moved to North Dallas. But at the same time, it was still in a child like me, kind of feeling outcast. My situation, I was still bad. So yeah. But I had a good upbringing, man. Really, everything was based on my decisions, man.
And 22 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Had you been in any trouble before then?
Oh, hell yeah. I know at the age of 10, let me take it back a little bit more. At the age of like 8, I know I used to always do a bunch of stealing. So I got caught for stealing several times, but at 10 is when I actually had the opportunity to go and see what an institution was like. I went to juvenile. I went to the Henry Wade at the age of 10 years old.
At 10 years old, what was that like for you?
Well, at 10, I didn't have no value of life. So it really didn't really matter. Like it was all fun and games. And even though I was in a situation where it's like, man, I'm strained up, but at that age, I had no value of what was going on around me, so it really didn't even matter. Like, it was just, I felt like I was going to detention in school or something.
Let's talk about the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. What year did you enter the Texas Department of Criminal Justice?
Shit, what was that? 2004? 2004. I did 2 years in the county, got like 2002, so 2004 was when I first stepped into prison.
And I like to call it a privilege because we give up our privilege when we give up our privilege in the world and we enter the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. That's what you get when you decide to break the laws of the land. So what privilege unit did you have the chance of arriving to?
Well, I had been to prison already once before. I had did a 2-year sentence. You know what I'm saying? And that was when I was 18. I got out when I was 20. You know what I'm saying? And I went to Tilford then. So when I went back to prison this time, I went to Pulaski unit. Over there in Livingston. I know everybody know where that's at.
And let's talk about Pulaski unit. What was it like for you pulling up at the Pulaski unit?
It was just like no regular. It wasn't no. It was like I've been to TYC and all that, so that kind of pretty much trained me to go to prison. So when I pulled up, it was basically like, okay, what's gonna go on? Is it some checking going on over here? They checking temperature. You know what I'm saying? What the hustle like? What the gang temperature like? A bunch of that's basically what it was like, being on point and being aware, seeing what I was finna basically have to be involved with or be up against on this unit.
And I noticed early on in this conversation, you said TYC prepared you for prison.
Right.
Explain that.
Okay, because in TYC, it kind of give you that prison mentality, but it don't give you the prison discipline. It don't give you the prison principles, because in TYC we still kids, so we still doing whatever. All we want to do is fight and do all that, but on a smaller level. It didn't really have no purpose to it. We just being bad, being dysfunctional as kids, period. But it trained me to have that prison mentality. So when I did hit prison, I pretty much basically knew what I was up against.
Let's talk about your first day on the Pulaski unit, if you can remember. How was that? What was that like for you?
Man, I think my first day I pulled up on the Pulaski unit, man, I think I never forget I was in medium custody, because where I was at on the transfer facility, I had gotten a bunch of squabbles, so they G4'd me. So I immediately pulled up G4. Now I remember I was in I was on what was that? J-Pod. I'm on J-Pod 1 section, and I fall in the cell with this nigga out of Marlin, Texas. You know what I'm saying? And when I get there, the nigga on the bottom bunk, and I supposed to have the bottom bunk. So I'm like, okay, it's a situation already. So as soon as I walk in with that basically, I'm like, damn, this nigga. So I had to tap the bunk. He get up, he get up. I'm like, hey man, I'm on this bunk right here, man. So at that moment right there, I already knew me and my city were gonna have some type of tension. That was already out the grip. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm gonna get my first one in off my city. I already see what kind of cat this is. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's basically how my first initial arrival on Pulaski was that temperature right there. Oh man, I'm finna get into it with a nigga as soon as I pull up.
And Pulaski unit, what was it like for you being a gang member on the Pulaski unit? Explain that?
Well, for me being a gang member on the Pulaski unit, it wasn't like it wasn't no different. But I know, see, the point of because what I represent. It's a small. We ain't got that many numbers when it comes to being in the Texas prison, But in the world, I hung around a lot of Crips. You see what I'm saying? That's basically how I got my name and all that. So it was like no different to me. And then all the niggas from Dallas, you know what I'm saying? So you know how that went. So it was basically shit. I felt like, hey, I was all right, because I know where I'm from. I know the niggas around me. I know what I represent, and then what I'm going on with that. So it's like it wasn't no situation like, man, I how it is, or like because it's like whatever go on, man. I'm with it. I'm gonna rock out. If we get into it, if it's some peace, if it's despair, if it's some war, whatever it is, I'm gonna rock out. So it really wasn't no type of way. It's like basically what I'm about to do while I'm here.
Let's talk about the segregation in prison for the blacks, white, Mexicans. How was that for you?
Like I say, it really wasn't. Nothing was a surprise to me, because I had already seen it, because it's like that going in TYC. It's almost like that, You see but I just seen a larger scale of it. I seen all the white boys over here. I seen all the Mexicans over here. Then I seen how the Mexicans don't eat with niggas. I see how sometimes the white boy click up with the Mexicans, and it just was a thing like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking like, damn, it was kind of crazy, but at the same time I understood it. I got it, because I had partners that was Mexicans in the world, and then they come to penitentiary. They segregated with they, you know what I'm saying, with their eyesight. So I'm like, shit. I get it because I understand it. When they go down in prison, they go down, and either you gonna ride with who you gonna ride with, or you gonna be a victim.
Let's talk about your worst day in prison, if you can remember. What was one of your worst days in prison?
And one of my worst days in prison, man, I never forget. We had got into a ride, and I tried to play the psych role because I didn't want to get no case. So I'm trying to get away from these niggas. I'm trying to get out this ride case. So I started playing the psych role and shit. I think, man, I had like I was gonna kill myself. Took a bunch of film shit. You know what I'm saying? They come strap me down. Man, these people put me in a room for 72 hours butt naked with the temperature at 50 degrees. I know it had to be 50 there, but I knew it would be 50 below. And I'm kind of young, so I'm trying to jack out just to get some heat going. I can't do that because my shit's so shriveled. Man, I swear that was the worst. Man, I beat on that door for 72 hours trying to get up out of there, man. And that was probably one of the worst experiences I had, man, being butt naked, being cold, being hungry. You know what I'm saying? Me can't generate no heat. They won't let you generate. Wrapping up in toilet paper. Oh, yeah. I think that's probably one of the worst times is I played my card a little bit too hard.
Now, describe to the viewers your prison job. What did you work at in prison?
Man, them people were so scared of me. I'm not gonna lie to you. They wouldn't give me no job. Look, I ain't lying, man. I'm talking about, man, I had a job I was working in the hallway port. I was a hallway port at one point. Used to work in I think I worked in maintenance at one point. But they was all paid for. Them people would not give me I had to pay another inmate to go in there and do his thing to get me a job because I know what my potential was once I got that job. You know what I'm saying? But my job, well, it kept me in the field. Early morning, I done tasted every vegetation they got out there fresh. Carrots, beans, onions, squash, watermelon, carrot. I'm talking about all that. They kept me in the field. They always gave me a job working in the whole squad, doing some type of Huckleberry Finn ass.
At any point, working in the field, did you ever feel like a slave?
What? Slave ain't the word for. Say when I tell you, look, it ain't really the word because I always kind of kept I kept a mental thing going when I went out there. This will be my daily workout. You know what I'm saying? But when it came down to them white boys pulling up on me in a horse and telling me to pick this grass, and this was a cold part. This one I really feel like a slave. I was on the Smith unit, and they remember cotton fields over there, red dirt. And I'd never been over there. And they say, yeah, we gotta go to work in the morning. I'm like, damn, I gotta go to work. You got my coffee ready and all that, you know, they got my boots and everything. I get out there, I see cotton. I say, man, what the hell? They got me on life. All these, I'm talking about what number? Red, dirty cotton, man. At that moment, I know, man, my life was completely owned. You know what I'm talking about? I knew it at that point. Hey, man, you do not own your life right now.
Worst thing you ever saw in the field?
Worst thing I ever saw was nigga, two white boys got into it. Nigga chopped them and half his head off with the Aggie. Right beside me, we over there. I'm getting on the nigga fucking not getting his grass. Man, he get this grass, man. Supposed to be some problems in it. And all of a sudden I turn around and I'm talking about hanging over like this here. Like one of them pegs things, how you put the can, that's how the head would hang. I said, God damn, that's probably one of the worst things I've seen, man. You get chopped with that Aggie.
From a mental standpoint, what was your mental process after you seeing that?
Don't get into it with a nigga and stand too close to him when he got the Aggie in his hand. I always do that. I never got into it. I never really like to get into it in the field because I know what I'm capable of with tools. I know what somebody else capable of with tools. It's too much sharp stuff. There's too many rocks out there. Too much sticks. Too many Aggies. So yeah, once I seen it, I said, yeah, I'm gonna try to keep a moderate tone when it comes to this field. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't trying to get my chalupa chopped in half with no aggie, because this sucker, he can't whip me. So he wait till I'm getting my grass and chop me on top of my head. Yeah, so it just made my trust issues more stronger,
For the viewers, go ahead and tell the viewers how much time you served in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
Well, as y'all know, at one point, I was in didn't give a damn mode, so I had to do 11 years of a 22-year sentence, regardless, just to even see parole. But me being who I was at that, and with the mindset that I had, I extended that, and I was getting in my way, so I ended up doing 21 years and 3 months on a 22-year sentence.
And 21 years on a 22-year sentence, right? Let's talk about officers. Well, how did you get along with the male officers?
Well, at first when I got there, my mentality, like I said, I had a TYC perspective. Even though I had been to prison, but I had stayed a small time, my perspective was still small because it was on a different level. I need to give me some stripes. Nigga think I'm a pretty boy. I got to give me this. I got to get that. You know what I'm saying? So it was always a but with the male officers, because I was like a young hothead type nigga, so they didn't really want to deal with me. And I didn't have I got authority issues, so I didn't have no respect for them. But as time progressed, and I never forget it, man. I forgot who it was, an old school cat. He sat me down. He said, "Say, youngster, man, you say, man, you got too much potential, man. All this shit going around." He said, "Just because you locked up don't mean you can't do nothing." He said, "Man, you need to tighten up your game a little bit. You have," because I was always the one trying to hustle and to sell wine or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm whatever I got to do, because I ain't had nobody in the world really sending me no bread. So you already know how that go. So once I sat down and I really analyzed where I was at and what I was doing and what it was getting me, I started changing up and I started having a different perspective when it came to the laws, male and female.
Now, let's talk about the female officers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of men that go to prison and be fortunate enough to get caught up in what they call an inappropriate relationship, right? Did you ever have the chance to experience any of that?
Yeah, I had a few 10.0s, establishing relationships and things like that. But it was basically because of my inept of me not having, you know what I'm saying, me being deprived of free world assistance. So that was the whole thing with that. And when it came to female officers, I understood that, hey, I ain't no ugly dude, man. And and hey, man, it don't matter where you at, man. Choosing is in effect. You know what I'm saying? Behind a prison wall, in a library, at a job site, choosing be in effect, man. So I understood that, and I realized that, hey, this is if I can get someone to understand my journey and my pain and take upon this struggle with me, that's what that is. So that's how I end up, associating myself with a lot of those women officers to be able to stay out their way, and get my way at the same time.
The first relationship, when you got involved in that first relationship, how did that make you feel?
Hey, man, to me at the age that I was young, I felt like I conquered something, because I felt like I did something no other nigga in prison could do. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody be, I ain't get no mail today, man. I ain't get no money on commissary. But here I am. I got all of such and such. You understand me? Loving me. Being, she's there for me, assisting me when it comes to, you know what I'm saying? Being down. And I mean, hey, I feel like I conquered something. I feel like, man, yeah, I was accomplished when it came to a prison goal. You know what I'm saying? On a prison mindset. Yeah, that's what I feel like. Yeah. Like, yeah, I did that. Out of all these cats, she chose me.
Do you feel like any and every inmate at the particular time that you were being chosen was capable of having a female officer?
Man, it depends because I was deprived of so many areas. But I'm like Jordan, man. I feel like, man, if I had the opportunity to play on a larger scale, a lot of cats would have went to the championship, man. You know what I'm saying? I would have started a lot of cats' careers, but I had, I was always over. That's why I was telling old school, told me like, man, you need to extend your game. You right here on medium custom. You can't do nothing on medium custom. You need to go G2. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, nah. If that was, because I'm gonna shoot, but at the same time, I mean, I had to learn how to, everybody ain't for me in every relationship, and I always got to be in a compassionate setting. So
now, was it more of a, I want this female officer to bring something in, or was it more of, I want this female officer to love?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Hey, when I tell you, it's basically, for me at first, it's like, man, I need bring me something in. I'm saying all that nigga to come say, I ain't got no company, and I ain't gonna be asking nobody for nothing. So yeah, it was, but an old school cat, he gave me a cliche phrase, and it go like this. It says, when the hunter becomes the hunted. So I was looking for that, but in the midst of me doing my hunting, I got hunted because now I started looking for that compassion and shit. I started looking for that rope. I started seeing if she ain't pulling up at this time, or if she around too many cats in the infirmary. You understand? Hold up, man. What's really going on? All it ended up being like they started this way, but it kind of it'll go that way. And that's really how it was, the basis. That's where that's where the situation come in when your heart get involved. Yeah.
Now, every inmate that's in any prison has a goal. If I can get you to bring me some in, I can get you to let me fuck.
For sure.
At any time and point where you ever been involved in a situation where you got to put some work in.
Hell yeah. I did 21 years. Yeah, I put some work in. I was in that position. I put some work in.
Now, what was it like for you the first time you were able to put some work in?
Talking about with the
with the female.
It was kind of fast because I was kind of knowing I was, in the setting that we was in. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? Get out the way. But then, once I started getting seasoned, I started knowing how to move around. It started being a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? I can be able to pinpoint. I can be able to set up things. I can be able to make sure it go how I want it. But at the first initial thing was like, man, it really was unreal because I'm in prison doing this here. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? And and I'm not doing it just with no enemy. I'm doing it with somebody that all these cats been dreaming about doing it with. They go to sleep and wake up in the morning talking about it, and here I am, you know what I'm saying, low key, smashing. So yeah, it was overwhelming.
During my time at Texas Department of Criminal Justice, right? It was guys that went to prison to do time, and when the time was up, they didn't have no kids when they went to prison. But during the time they was in prison, they made a few kids, right? What's your story on that?
Yeah, I experienced that too. Like, it's crazy. I ain't gonna get too much backdrop, but man, yeah, I didn't. Right now, as we speak, is in transition from there to the world. So I did that. I had the opportunity. At that moment, it was cool. You know what I'm saying? But then once you get out of that mindset and being in prison and you transition to a free world mindset, you realize like, man, what I did, man. But you gonna still love what you created. So yeah, it was.
So, go ahead and tell the viewers how long you've been free from prison.
Okay, I got out of prison February 27, 2024. It's now June. So what that is, like about 18 months, 17, 18 months. I've been out.
And what has been your hardest challenge since you've been out?
Man, acclimating back into the environment, bro, or basically trying to learn technology. Because, you know, down there, we dibbled and dabbled with cell phones, you know what I'm saying? But we had to duck and hide and stash it and do all that. And me, I was the type of kid, I had a Batman phone. Like, I ain't finna be riding on no Facebook and no cell. I'm just trying to check me some numbers. So that was the main thing for that. But once I got out here, I ain't gonna lie, when I very first got out, I went to Burger King. I never forget. And when I went to Burger King, I was so overwhelmed by the menu. I ain't know what to order. I thought I was having an anxiety attack. I was like, man, they had all them. And the woman kept asking me, what would you like? I said, what would you like? I'm there looking at the menu, looking at her, looking at the menu, looking at, I'm like, bitch, I don't know what I'm on. I'm finna tell you where to run. So yeah, so man, it's like that, like, you know, basically, like I say, like, acclimating back into, you know what I'm saying, society and getting a job, you know what I'm saying, actually going to actual, appointments, like medical appointments, getting your social security card, getting your driver's license, all that stuff is overwhelming to me, you know what I'm saying? But as the time went by and with help of different loved ones, I didn't have the opportunity to kind of transition into back being out here. But it still get kind of hectic sometimes for me, even though I've been out 18, 19 months. It still sometimes I be like, you know.
So let me ask you this, man, because this is a question that I ask a lot of people, right? And they always give me different answers, right? The choice of drug in prison now is K2, aka man down,
aka slaughter when you order.
So why do you think people resort to K2 after they're sentenced to prison?
It's mostly, man, I ain't gonna lie, it's mixed with boredom, it's mixed with being an addict, and it's mixed with trying to get some money and staying under the radar. Cause you know, back then when I first came to prison, it was all the same. It was a free world thing. We smoking weed, we powder, you know what I'm saying? I get heroin and all that old stuff, went pooch, all that. But now with the K2 blast, it's so different. Because it's instant gratification. You swoop, bam, you up there. You know what I'm saying? But they mixing so much stuff with us, what makes it so dangerous now. But that's the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the gratification. It's about trying to get away from the reality in which you living in at that moment. So when you hit the K2 or when you do it or you drink wine, it just take you away from a small moment. It just give you that small bit of space you need from where you at that moment.
From your personal perspective, right? Do you feel like men turn into drug addicts once they're sentenced to prison?
Hell yeah, I done seen some real live hustlers get. Basically, when that K2 came in the system, man, it turned hustlers into dope fiends. Man, I'm talking about it turned gangsters into busters. I'm talking about it did a bunch. It changed the whole dynamics of prison, that K2. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, they didn't got there and start smoking. And now they can't stop smoking. You know what I'm saying? They gotta have a bump. You gotta hit one in the morning. Gotta hit one after lunch. Gotta hit one on the rec yard. Gotta hit one in the cell. Gotta watch a movie on your tablet. Now that's just what that is. And yeah, people come to prison and they become drug addicts because they're trying to run away from their reality. So yeah.
And when you said they need a bump, so explain to the viewers how big or how small is a K2 stick? How small is it?
Man, it's a pinner, put it like that, because now it's paper on paper on paper on paper. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna do too much talking about it, but yeah. So they know they either gonna get it and now niggas putting tea with it. I never understood the tea effect, man. You water the minds down. Why you gonna put tea with it? So when I say you a stick, it ain't gonna have no tea in it. It's gonna be just straight man down, so it can blow your brain. But they cutting the paper, rolling it in paper. So you paper on paper. You know, basically that's what it is, and it's gonna be a pen. You know what I'm saying? But then they feel like the fatter the paper, the larger the stick. You know, so basically that's what's going on. And if I see a cat smoking a stick, a man, so-called man down, and he got a blunt, so I know he's trash. He got roach spray. You know what I'm saying? They got that red top raised. You know what I'm saying?
Worst thing you ever seen that happened to a man on K2.
Oh, I done see. Man, look. I done seen so many episodes of this K2, man, don't make no sense, man. I seen, man, run out in the middle of the rec yard, get in a 3-point stand, bust his booty cheeks open, and say, come in. He say, all you can do, man, come and get it. Say, man, I must have laughed so hard, man. I'm telling you, look, it's so many stories I done seen. I didn't forgot most of them, but they all funny. You know what I'm saying? I done seen nigga goddamn me turn into animals. I done seen him turn into cats and dogs. I done seen motherfucker. I done seen psych patient niggas smoke K2 and turn into straight players. I'm talking about put them on the female law and be serving. And this nigga, what this nigga just went to go ahead, one shoe on over there, just talking about walking in circles and shit. Man, but I done seen a bunch, man, but they all end up the same way. He gonna be hilarious and you're going to jail. Somebody finna be walked out in handcuffs. You know what I'm saying? So I just seen some stories, man. I just seen some stories.
When he in the prison at a young age, served his time, now he's back free, man. Y'all can't get this nowhere else but here at the Ferguson Chronicle, where we keep it 110 hour across every day, all day, and the day is no different.
Oh, different.
So from you to them, a person that was your age and on the same path that took you to prison twice, what would be your advice to that person on how to stay free?
And my daddy told me this. He said that when you become seasoned in the game, you'll understand and be able to see things a mile away. And for me right now, I feel like I'm seasoned due to my experiences. And I would tell you this: stay focused, have you some purpose, get you some principles, and always stay motivated with the decisions that you make, because that's what's going to lead you to where you're going. Because when you get out there and you start listening to music, and you start doing all this, and even when you broke and you feel like, man, I'm on my last leg, I need to go do this and do that. At the end of the day, you got to have patience, man. You know what I'm saying? Because patience is a virtue, and a lot of people don't have virtue in their life because they don't have no patience, and that's what you got to do. Be patient. Don't allow your situation to become permanent when it's temporary. And don't be scared to ask somebody for help. Don't be scared to step out and really get change, because people don't understand what change is. Changing is doing the 9 person places and things that you're around. You got to do that. And if you do that and learn how to have patience when it comes down to making and executing those principles, you will stay out that penitentiary. Sure.
21 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, right? One thing, from a mental standpoint, what did you bring back with you?
Preparation. I learned how to prepare myself. I learned because I know that you got to stay ready from getting ready. And what I mean by preparation, because it prevents poor performance at all times. And that's what I've learned. Like right now, I do 6-month breakdowns of what I go through. So every 6 months, I prepare myself for an evaluation. Okay, what it is that I did, what I didn't do, what I would like to do, and what I should do better. So I feel like that me and what I took, I've learned to prepare myself. I prepare myself properly. You know what I'm saying? For being an entrepreneur. Because a lot of times, man, I just did. I went, go mode. I didn't think about it and didn't take no chance to even look at it. I just went. But now I sit back and I prepare myself. I prepare my mental. So when I'm finna face a situation, because you can really never pinpoint when you're going to go through something. Even get out of prison, you can't never pinpoint what you're going to go through. But you're going to go through something. But as long as you prepare yourself mentally by researching, reading, learning, elevating, you'll be all right.
I always like to give a person the chance to close the show on their note, because it's your interview, it's your time was served, so it's only right that I let you close this show out on any note you want to.
True Jesus. Yeah, that's who I am, man. Y'all know me. For all the ones that don't know me, you will. But I just want to say this. I want to say, after being in prison for all those years and doing all that time, just because you did that, don't mean you're not redeemable. You can always get back out and do the exact same thing that you wanted to do before or while you was in prison better. And you can make your life have more value. Get some principles, get some morals, get some understanding, know how to communicate, realize that you don't have to have those rough edges just to be a person or who you are, just to have your character, but understand you got to value life. And when you value life and value the people that surround you and start really loving life and loving God, then you're going to be all right.
Once again, real life people, real life stories. I appreciate you for stopping by.
No, for
giving
sure.
Your spiel on 21 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. I always like to call that expensive pain.
Very expensive, because we pray. Hey, get one more thing I want to say. Don't you know when I discharged on parole, I discharged my whole sentence. These people gave me a receipt, like a live Walmart receipt saying my debt was paid. Hey, man, blew my mind, man.
Debt to society was paid after 21 years, man. It's no different where they say you check in and you only check out when it's time for you to check out.
For sure.
So with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Always tap in with the real, man. I am Mr. 110, where I keep 110 all the way across every day, all day.
110.